Hey YouTube, it's Shy. Now, something I've realized from Gears of War Ultimate Edition is that movement is extremely important. I think everybody can agree with me on that. And what I've decided to do is put together a little bit of a video here where I'm going to showcase the movement in Gears and explain to you how I move quickly and how I ensure that I'm always moving at full speed everywhere I go around the map. So I'm going to talk about a lot of different things in regards to movement. The first thing that I want to do is we're going to talk about our sensitivity and our control settings. It's the first thing that I want you to look at because I'm going to tell you exactly what I'm using and I'm going to recommend that to you. So right now, you can take a look at everything you see on screen here. My sensitivities are all jacked up to 30. Now, the target sensitivity and zoom sensitivity aren't absolutely necessary for 30, but I would say that look sensitivity should be 30. This ensures that you can move your blind fire camera around as quickly as possible, which is extremely important. Now, I keep vibration off. I find that when I have vibration, it sometimes makes my aim a little bit more difficult. If I'm trying to fire a shot, maybe the controller vibrates a little bit, and that can throw me off in a heated situation. So I take that off. Now this is the most important part, and the part that a lot of people overlook in Gears of War because they're used to the classic control scheme, but this is the tournament control scheme here. Now I'm just going to press Y to view controller, and you can see here the only switch is that take cover on the left bumper. That's now where take cover is, and then if you look at the A button, it's been swapped over to TACCOM, right? So all it's doing is it's swapping the functions of the left bumper and the A button, and that is crucially important for Gears of War in my opinion. I think that Gears of War should have been created with left bumper in mind. If they if they went back to 360, they should have started it with the left bumper, because by doing so, what it allows me to do is use all of these cover functions here, all of this sliding to the wall, roadie running, rolling, whatever I want to do, I do it all on the left bumper, which is so important because every time I slide to a wall, my right thumb is always on the right stick of the controller. So I can move the stick around, I can be sliding into cover and consistently readjusting my camera angle at the same time in order to ensure that I get the best, most accurate bounce, right? Now, if I had the A button for this, I would have to take my right thumb off the right stick to press A to slide into cover, and then I would have to move the stick after to readjust it. So it would make it to readjust the camera, right? So it would make it a lot more difficult to move quickly. Obviously, Gears 1 is a slower game than Gears 3, so it's a little less necessary, but still, ultimately, if you can master the tournament control scheme, then you will become a much faster player. So what you can see here, I'm going to actually just start to explain what I'm doing. Obviously, we have the wall bouncing Gears. Now, the absolute basics, if you're coming in this video and you know nothing about wall bouncing, then you at least know that, assuming you changed your control scheme, you would know that you press LB and you get into the cover like this, and then you pull back on the stick. Now you've released from the cover. That is all there really is to wall bouncing, right? Get on the cover. Now notice how I'm looking forward right now. The cover is on my right side, so instead of pulling backwards, I'm going to pull to the left on the stick, right? So you pull off depending on where your camera is facing. So I'm just pressing LB to the right and then pulling left on the stick to pull off, LB to the right, pull left on the stick to pull off the cover. Now the aspect of wall bouncing is going to the wall and then turning your camera so you can look at the other wall, right? And sliding over the next wall by pressing the cover slide again, pulling off, sliding to the next wall, pulling off, right? So you're using the camera to kind of direct your movements. Now you don't necessarily have to be looking at the wall, right? I'm not looking at the wall here, but if I push my left stick over to, what do I want to say, 10 o'clock, let's say, if your control stick was a clock hand, you push it over to 10 o'clock or you push it over 8 o'clock, let's say, and you'll slide over, let's say 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock, 2 o'clock, something like that, right? You don't necessarily need to be looking at the wall. You can kind of keep your look relatively straightforward, and that's important because you do want to have the center of your screen lined up with the opponent that is in front of you, right? So bouncing is extremely important. When you're in a situation like that, you want to know that you can bounce, right? You can even bounce around corners like that. I think you can even bounce kind of diagonal behind you, right? So you could be facing forward, you could bounce diagonal backwards. So experiment with what you can do, and also know that if you're too far from the wall, you're going to roll. So you have to get used to this. See, every time I roll, I get a little pang of frustration comes up in my head because I hate rolling in this game because usually rolling is a death sentence. Right there, a roll, usually rolling is a death sentence. So you want to avoid rolling unless there's only one place where rolling actually does anything in Gears 1, and that's if, let's say we have an opponent standing right here. I decide to roll like that. I get right behind him, shoot him in the face with a shotgun. And he doesn't know that I'm there, so it was a very quick kind of opportunity that I took advantage of. That is the only time I would think a roll is viable, or if you're trying to escape maybe from somebody. But ultimately, rolling will kill you, so you want to make sure that you know the wall distances so that you can move around the cover freely. Now, the other big thing about Gears of War 1, and one big thing that changed that I really want to talk about, because I don't see many people using it effectively, is about the Roadie Run. Now, notice how they have Roadie Run in Gears 1, and you'll see that it takes a certain amount of time after Roadie Running for me to Roadie Run again, right? Notice how I get up, I try to Roadie Run immediately, but the game's only going to react to my second Roadie Run at whatever whatever the game wants to. That's the mechanics of this game. If I was to play Gears of War 3, I could Roadie Run left and right really quickly because the Roadie Run starts up extremely quick in Gears 3. In Gears 1, that is not the case, right? There is this purgatory, you could say, where I'm just kind of walking. And you don't really want to be walking in Gears. Like, the only time you want to be walking is if maybe you got a good strafe, right? Maybe you can strafe around people, but honestly, walking for me is also kind of like a death sentence in this game, because you're a slow-moving target, a sniper can shoot your face off, an enemy can pop shot you. So clearly, if I want to Roadie Run strafe, it's an issue now, because now it takes me too long to start up a second Roadie Run. So I've learned something in this game, and I have a video on it in my past video, and I said wall running is the new Roadie strafe. So what I mean is, I'm in a Roadie strafe right now. If I want to continue my movement, I can instead wall run to continue moving around the map. Notice how when I wall run, there is no delay. He just goes right into a run. There's no pausing. He's just immediately running around the map. So you can imagine the effect that would have if instead of, let's say, I do a Roadie Run strafe, I see an enemy, I go run to the wall and then go around him with like a wall run, right? And I can keep moving around the map extremely quick. Now, in order to do this wall run, what I'm doing is, like I said, I've changed my controls. You could do it with A button, but I recommend LB. I run to the wall, and I tap it to slide in the wall, and then I press L again, and I press and hold when I press it the second time. So it's L, press L again, hold. Right? So once you hit the wall, hold that button down. So you're running along the wall, you're holding LB to run along the wall, and you can do it pretty much instantaneously after you make contact with the wall. So press LB to slide to the wall, press LB again, and hold it down so that you can run. Right? Now you'll notice something. If my character is facing this way and I want to run, he has to turn his guy around. Notice how I want to run, let's say I want to run the direction of my camera angle, but his face is facing towards me. He has to turn around before he runs. So make sure that if you're going to do a wall run, you want to move as quick as possible. Make sure your character is lined up with that wall so he's not facing the wrong direction like that, right? Because then he's going to be slow. So you want to make sure you're in the process of moving towards somebody before you grab that wall, and the wall should be on your left or right, so that you're already kind of facing the direction that you want to go, so that you can keep that run and that movement going. Now, another thing that you want to notice is if I run on a wall here, let's say I come off the wall and there's no other walls to bounce to, and I want to Roadie Run again. See how long it takes me to Roadie Run? Like, some of you might not think that's very long. For me, like, that's extremely long when I play Gears of War 3. Like, right here, come off the wall. It takes me this long to start up the Roadie Run again. Right? For me, that's kind of unacceptable. That's a couple seconds where I'm just kind of walking forward, right? Right here, I'll show you. See, I'm walking before I can start up another Roadie Run. Now, one thing that you can do to mitigate this is obviously bouncing to another wall is another thing that you can do, because now you're moving on another wall. But you can also wrap around the ends of the covers here, right? If I wrap around a wall, I'm immediately in the running animation. So I wrap around, I hold the bumper to ensure that I press and hold when I wrap around to ensure that I'm right in a Roadie Run. See? And now I'm consistently Now I'm consistently moving at full speed everywhere I go in the map. Right? As long as you can make sure you wrap around a wall at the end of your movement there. See, notice how that wall right there, I was facing the wrong direction. I don't know if anybody saw that. I was facing like this, and then I ran like that. It slowed me down just for a second. You have to be extra careful when you're lining up those walls and make sure you're moving really quick. Now, movement is something I love in Gears of War. It's probably what makes Gears of War one of my favorite games out of all the games that I've ever played. And Gears of War 3, I think, really nailed it as far as movement goes. They have even better movement mechanics. But Gears of War 1 is still a great game, and there's a lot that you can do with the movement. So I figured I would make this video and try to optimize it as much as possible and show you what it looks like if you would get it at its full speed. So that's what I want you to keep in mind. So if you want to make sure you're moving around the map really fast, I want you to change that control scheme to tournament controls. I know some of you don't like the idea of doing that, but believe me, in the long run, it's going to save you so much time and energy, because in the end of the day, your right stick is always focused on aiming, and your left bumper is always focused on bouncing. You don't have to worry about moving that thumb off the right stick. So you can be an exponentially better player in the long run if you master this control scheme. And then when the new Gears game comes out, I'm going to assume that they're going to have the same controls. Even if they don't, I'm getting my ass on that Gears of War Elite controller, or not Gears of War, Xbox Elite controller, which is going to give me the same benefits. So highly recommend you guys get on this. If I can think of anything else that might be important in regards to movement, I mean, obviously pulling back. Now these are more attack strategies. Now that's okay. So let's end the video there, and then I'll make a new video for other types of tips. But this is essentially what I want you to think about in regards to movement. Running on walls is going to make sure that you can keep your top speed, and the Roadie Run startup is kind of slow, so you want to make sure that you try to avoid those situations as much as possible, unless you want to trick up an opponent and you have a really good strafe. I know that the ESS Vumu Milk guy sometimes tries to strafe around and get like a slow Roadie Run started up, and it works for him in some situations. But for the most part, run along the walls, turn around the cover to make that top speed, or to keep that top speed, and bounce around to resituate yourself in better positions. Okay? Thank you for that. That's a commentary, and I will see you guys in the next video. Shy Guy out. Hey guys, it's Shy. If you like what you see here and you want to see more, whether that's gameplay in Gears of War or other games or other competitive breakdowns, whatever it is you want to see, send me a comment in the comment section, like my video, and subscribe to my channel, and I will keep uploading content for you and keep you guys pleased. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope to see you soon.